We are joined now by ECU head coach Scottie Montgomery. ECU is 2-5 overall, 0-4 in the American. Pirates were idle last week. They're back in action Saturday against Memphis at Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium in Greenville. There will be a noon Eastern time start on ESPNU. Coach, thank you for joining us on the call today. If you would just tell us how your open week went as you prepare to get back in it Saturday against Memphis, please.
Yeah, it's always good to take a break and kind of rehash and look over a few things, but more so getting back to the fundamentals of good football, trying to do things better and of course, more efficiently. We had a chance to get some of our guys back in play this week, so we're really happy about that. Like where the open date came, we had some bumps and bruises, especially in our secondary that we had that missed some playing time a couple of weeks ago. So we got those guys back, and really excited to move toward a really good football team in Memphis this week, and good to have it at home.
We'll take questions for Coach Montgomery. Please star 1 on your telephone keypad. We'll put you in the queue. The operator will introduce you.
We will now take our next question from Dan Totora from WakeUpCallDT.com. Please go ahead. Your line is open.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hey, Dan. How are you, man?
Doing well. Just to speak on Holton and just what he's done at the quarterback position for you. I know we spoke about him a few weeks back, but now that you've had, like you said, some of that extra time and whatnot, just how he has gelled with the offense and how you've seen him lead up to this point.
Yeah, he's been great. This has been really good for him, building the relationships that it takes to be able to captain a football team and really run offensively a football team. You know, it's been really good for him. The biggest thing is that we've been able to bring the offense. I thought, people saw that last week, a couple of weeks ago. We brought the offense a little bit more to him. Now we've been able to open up more stuff that we can do with just 2 weeks of great preparation now on stuff that we can be able to do, whether it be in the red zone, whether it be in the strike zone. He's done a really good job of being able to handle it. He's had a lot of time in the office. He's had a lot of time with coaches. He's had a lot of time to be on the field in the last week or so. So there'll be continued growth from him. But the biggest thing is we're really happy with the way that he's been continually building relationships on the team, not only with the offensive players, but the defensive players as well.
And then as far as, being here at your third season with East Carolina, just what you're seeing from the team as a whole. And I know wins, there's been some adversity in the win-loss column, but what are you seeing in year number 3? Are things starting to come together behind the scenes? Are there kind of pillars of this foundation that you're trying to build showing up that maybe we're not seeing yet? Like, what can you tell us about building this East Carolina team back up again?
Yeah, definitely. Defensively, we've seen some huge gains. We spent a lot of time, a lot of scholarship numbers on the defensive side of the ball. We've taken a lot of guys, especially in our secondary, in our defensive front. We've taken some guys. So we're really starting to see the benefit of that. Also, the things that people don't know about away from the building, it's just been really clean. Our locker room's a lot better than it has been over the last couple of years. We're a lot stronger together. We're starting to see the benefit on offense, of course, of recruiting because of guys like Holton Ahlers to play more and seeing more of them. But our young guys are now becoming redshirt sophomores and sophomores, so we're seeing a lot of growth. But what we've seen, some of the biggest growth is definitely the guys that we've recruited now are ending up on the field. Some of them are young, but they're starting to make more plays. We've had some inconsistency with some of those guys, which you can almost bet on when you're dealing with young people. But the addition of this open date and being able to continue to work our fundamentals, I think we'll see a lot of growth here in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck moving forward.
Thank you.
We will now take our next question from Tom Shanahan from News and Observer. Please go ahead. Your line is open.
Hi, Coach. Holton threw the ball 53 times, which isn't really that surprising, but the 27 carries, I wonder if that concerns you, a little bit too many hits to take.
Yeah, it's a little concerning. There weren't 27 runs called. You can't control when a kid decides to scramble and scrambles for good purposes. And you got to realize that those are runs that have turned into scrambles. And then there's also some reads in there that we would have liked him to read a little bit differently. That it should have been handoffs and should have been a few passes more in there. So we just can continue to clean him up on his fundamentals and clean him up on his reads, and that number will decrease. But if that's what it takes for us to win games, then, yeah, you can probably see him run. But I can't really control sometimes when the routes are covered and, a lane opens up and he scrambles for 10, 15 yards. We're always going to have him do that, and that's kind of the way he's been coached. So you'll see some more. You'll see some more runs actually show up on the stat sheet than really are called, just because of his body of work. If you look around the country and see some of the quarterbacks that scramble, a lot more runs will show up, even though there are not a lot of runs actually called for him. But we're going to have to run him. That's part of where we are right now. We don't really want to throw it as many times as we threw it this past week. We like to have some bigger plays. I think that now we got him settled down, I think he can go down the field a little bit more effectively. We won't have to have 100 plays in a game. We don't need that many plays. We need to be more efficient on some of our explosive plays that we call.
Okay, and then you mentioned during the bye week you were going to give a lot of younger guys work to see if they can work into the lineup the rest of the year. Anybody stand out that you can mention? Any highlight?
Yeah, we had a couple of guys that stood out. Deuce Fuller stood out for us, a young guy that we've had here now a couple of years. One guy that I was really pleased with. He's gotten a lot stronger and a lot bigger. I say bigger, but bigger and stronger together. And that has made some plays for us in the last couple of weeks. And then he just really started. A lot of the star power from our this past week was Tyler Snead. Tyler Snead's done a really, really good job this past week. I think he's a guy that we can look forward to seeing a couple of snaps here and there throughout the game. Hopefully, as we move forward, he's done a good job.
Great, thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
We will now take our next question from Leo Haggerty. It's Sports Magazine. Please go ahead. Your line is open.
Good morning, Coach.
Yeah, good morning.
Coach, could you talk a little bit about why it's so hard to just win a conference game and why it's even harder to win a conference game on the road?
It's very hard because, first of all, we have a great conference. If you look at the teams that we've played in conference to this point, I'll call them out for you. We played Temple, we played South Florida, we played Central Florida, we played Houston. That should be enough said. It's hard for anybody to beat any of those teams, but also to beat those teams on the road can be difficult. The first thing that you have to do is continue to be able to build in recruiting. In this conference, you're going to have to recruit at the very, very top for years, consecutive years, so that you can do some of the catching up that we have to do in this league. The second part of it is that you have to continue to build the culture of being able to run the football. And that's the way you win road games. We're going to have to be much more effective running the football. I think defensively we've grown. The problem with our defense at times is we've given up some really, really big plays at inopportune times. And we've played, good football for a good majority of the game. That comes with star power. That comes with recruiting. We've got to be able to continue our level of star power, especially in the back end, where you can eliminate some of those plays that are 70-yard plays down to about 15-yard plays. So I think that's why it's a little hard to win conference games in this conference because of the level of talent, but also where the conference is and how many great teams we have. Like I said, you got Houston, Temple, South Florida, and Central Florida, all really, really good football teams.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
There appears to be no further questions.
Thanks so much for your time. Look forward to hearing from you once again next Monday.